Sup everyone, Darkstream217 here, and with me is a friend of mine. He has a YouTube account that goes by the name of Innotech, but since he doesn't do shit with that fucking account, I'm just going to plug his DA page instead. And together we're going to be talking about a movie we just saw about a couple hours ago.
Miyazaki.
Yeah, it's a Hayao Miyazaki film that's out right now, actually. It's called Ponyo. And, I don't know, I decided to see this movie out random. Well, actually not out random. A couple people in the Skype call were talking about this film. One of them fucking loved it. Then I decided to see if I can plan to see it sometime this week. And I did. And I gotta tell you, out of all the films I saw this summer, as a matter of fact, out of all the films I saw this year, this has to be the best movie I've seen this year.
Of course, that's not saying a lot about, this year's movies.
I mean, yeah, I think I briefly mentioned the movies I saw. I didn't see any of the comedy films, nor did I see Disney's Up. Though I heard...
I didn't see that shit either.
Yeah, I heard Up was good, and I also heard that The Hangover was hilarious, but I missed out on it for some reason. And I don't think I'm going to be seeing The Goods anytime soon. Not because I don't want to, but that's just...
I noticed this phenomenon, where you're watching a movie, or the previews, and you go, oh shit, I gotta see that, and that, and that, and that, and then you don't see any of them. Do you ever have that problem?
Oh, yeah, maybe once or twice. I wanted to see Spider-Man 2 in theaters, never got a chance to see it. But anyway, we're digressing. I digress. Yeah, we actually fucking enjoyed Ponyo, even though it's a G-rated kids film, and it has Miley Cyrus's little sister and one of the Jonas Brothers voice acting in that fucking movie. But other than that, the movie was great.
You can watch the subs.
Yeah, you can always wait till DVD and get it subtitled. But the English voice acting was actually fantastic. Didn't you think so?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty decent, aside from the one you mentioned there. And then the song at the end that makes you want to kill yourself, but that's just,
That's just us. We do warn you, if you do see the movie, and I got the same warning from the person who recommended this movie to me, once the credits start rolling, get the hell out of there if you can't stand crappy music. But if you have the ability to tolerate the bad music, and trust me, I can tolerate a lot of things, but I couldn't tolerate this, so I left. Anyway, let's talk about the animation quality.
Oh, it's typical Miyazaki, basically.
Yeah.
You've got that very fluid... I thought this was a little more fluid because it was, ocean-based and everything. I was really impressed with the effects of it. And,
yeah, I just love what you said. 20 seconds going into that movie, you were like, wow, this is more animated than 90% of all the anime TV shows out today.
Who was that? Who was that guy on here who was talking about the animation quality and everything of anime and everything?
You're talking about the Joseph Show. I've introduced him to some of his videos and he kind of agrees, but then he also wants to show him some stuff that actually does have great animation.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, Miyazaki films
Studio 4C, as I've said before.
Yeah, I actually like Madhouse Entertainment. By the way, I'm looking forward to that Iron Man anime adaptation. Or I don't know if it's going to be a movie or not, but the Wolverine. I'll show you a trailer of it later. But the Wolverine one, I think I want to stay away from that.
Well, I mean, they tried to do Powerpuff Girls in anime, and that was a failure. Yeah.
The animation, of course, is fluid. It's all. I never saw a lick of CG in there. Everything in there was hand drawn.
And then, like I said, they had the monk character from Princess Mononoke in there.
Yeah. So,
except, minus the big red, whatever the fuck on his head.
You just point out one of the supporting characters. He'd probably make a cheap cameo for the hell of it.
Yeah, it was just...
It could be another Miyazaki reference, who knows. I thought the tunnel scene kind of reminded me of Spirited Away to some extent. Yeah. So, yeah, there could be some loose Miyazaki references in that film. And the storyline is actually also pretty awesome. It's very Little Mermaid inspired, if you can tell. I mean...
Yeah, the whole girl wanting to be, part of the person world, the human world.
It's usually about Fish Girl who wants to be human, and she eventually does. Sometimes she actually has like 3 forms. One is her fish form, And it she has like a fish body almost, and a human face. And then when I saw that...
Cutest damn thing.
Yeah. When I saw that, my first thought was that Sega Dreamcast game called Seaman.
Oh, Jesus. No, but it wasn't that fucked up.
Yeah, it wasn't that fucked up, but it reminded me of that.
It's cute, not frightening. Because I've seen that.
And then her second form is where she usually shapeshifts to most of the time, is that form where she had like webbed feet and webbed hands. It almost looked duck-like, and she still had that.
That's my favorite form right there.
Yeah, she had that bizarre fish eyes and weird mouth lips. And to me, she came off looking more as a frog than a.
I think that was the idea.
Yeah, I don't know.
She was supposed to.
And she usually casts magic, doing all that. And then of course she has her full-blown human form where her face looks more human-like, and she has arms and legs of a human.
And her dad reminds me of like those guys from Davy Jones' Locker.
Yeah, Ponyo's dad, Fujimoto, played by Liam Neeson. I think that's how you pronounce it.
Liam Neeson? I think so.
Yeah, he was
Qui-Gon.
Qui-Gon Jinn, or your main character's father in Fallout 3. He did a good job, and the character he played, he did look a little ridiculous. He had at first I thought it was just an ugly old woman at first, but then, when you actually hear him grunt a groan and actually speak, you realize, oh, it's a dude. I thought it was just some ugly old woman, but nope, it's a guy, and he looked like he had makeup on or whatever, and he's this, I'm sorry, I was barely able to comprehend what he was talking about. Something about him trying to make sure that the ocean is safe or whatever, to keep balance. By the way, ignore the line. The lights in my fan are fucked up.
Oh, you should see my house. My house was, got struck by lightning yesterday.
Damn. And
it was, or at least very close. And then all the lights in there started flickering like candles and shit, like a horror movie. It was awesome.
Yeah. We had 2 thunderstorms in a row.
Computer.
But yeah, Ponyo's dad, he is a crazy person who likes to use elixirs or whatever. And something about bringing balance into the world or whatever, he's trying to prevent it because the whole friggin' planet will be flooded or whatever.
It was one of those environmental things.
Yeah, and apparently the only way to stop all this, he's kind of an environmentalist nutcase who thinks all humans are bad too, by the way. And the only way to prevent this is to have Ponyo find true love, and that leads us to the main protagonist, 5-year-old Sosuke, who is pretty fucking intelligent for a 5-year-old.
Yeah, I would say so. And his mom is not a very good mother.
Yeah, I know. Regarding Sosuke's mom, I want to cover that first. Somewhere in the early middle of the film, there was a storm, a hurricane or a typhoon or whatever.
A mini typhoon.
Was hitting in the island where they live, and there was a power outage at a senior citizens home that Sosuke's mom works at, and then she was going to consider taking herself and her son back home in the middle of this storm, and the waves are acting up and shit. And then there was this one part where she has to cross this.
I think that was kind of an understatement. The waves were acting up there. The waves were turning into fucking giant fish. And yeah, you gotta see this shit.
Yeah, I love it how Miyazaki's films are like kid-friendly acid trips. I love
that would just about it.
She had to cross this. I don't know what it is. It's where boats are allowed to pass, and there's this small, low-level slope or whatever.
I'm pretty sure those don't exist in real life. It wouldn't be safe.
Apparently, the two Coast Guard guys were trying to warn her that you gotta take the other route or whatever, and the waves are freaking pushing in through there. She decides to drive across it anyway, and how she not get taken away by the waves?
The waves are alive, by the way. The waves are alive.
Yeah, you mentioned.
Oh shit.